The 2024 National Football League season is up and running, and so is Season 2 of Overreaction Monday, brought to you by our friends at Game Time, the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code OVERREACTION for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Download Game Time today. Good to see you, Chris Brockman. How are you?
Rich, I am so great. Yesterday was so awesome.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
The first Sunday of the National Football League season, after the first ever Friday of the National Football League season, after the season kickoff in Kansas City, in which the Chiefs beat the Ravens by a toenail, it seemed, and Saquon Barkley dominated the Kansas City, the Green Bay Packers defense. And then all of those games on Sunday, and this is being recorded in advance of the Jets and 49ers Monday Night Football game. Correct. Overreaction Monday is back, baby.
Oh, it's so back. It's so great to be back.
I don't even know how you're going to choose what to overreact to, because week one is just the absolute greatest overreaction week to have.
It's the greatest. I have 10 items. I think I wrote 20 down Sunday night when I was coming up with these.
Yes.
They're so hot. I cannot wait to hear what you're going to say.
All right, hit it. Let's start it.
That was terrible.
That was crap. That was garbage. This place sucks.
Overreaction Monday.
All right, Christopher, have at it.
Here we go, Rich. I have to start here because it was the story we talked about leading up to the draft, following the draft, and the entire preseason. With Kirk Cousins clearly not 100%, the Falcons should start Michael Penix in week 2.
That is an absolute overreaction. That's totally nuts.
Kirk Cousins look healthy to you?
He didn't look all that great. The Steelers defense, and for our listening audience, listening to us wherever you get your podcasts, our crack team of Mike Hoskins and Don Bowie,
it's the perfect photo,
have chosen the moment that TJ Watt crashed into Kirk Cousins and knocked a ball loose. So there might have been multiple times where that happened on Sunday. I think you're going to find a ton of people are going to look this way against the Steelers defense.
But not anyone coming back from an Achilles injury.
Bro,
right?
His first snap since snapping his Achilles, it's just not going to look all that great. We need to start viewing, and I think we're going to say this a little bit more and more and more. We need to start viewing week one as an extension of preseason football. That just happens to count.
There's no doubt about
for a
that.
lot of teams.
Week 1 and 2, maybe 3 for some teams.
The problem with the Falcons, though, is that do you start Michael Penix Jr.? Would you start Michael Penix Jr. in Philadelphia? Really?
Yeah.
First game, Monday Night Football.
I know that he's healthy. I don't know that Kirk is healthy.
Week 3, you're going to start him against the Kansas City Chiefs? I thought you'd go that the Falcons are in deep trouble.
Well, we're about a week away from that. I mean, they're going to start 0-3, right? I think we can agree upon that, yeah?
They got New Orleans and Tampa at home
they
after this.
They might be 0-5.
I think you're overreacting there, but I think the fact that they lost this game at home against Pittsburgh,
terrible,
with Justin Fields starting.
Yeah. Well, they didn't. The Steelers didn't score a touchdown.
This is one that you have to win. You've got to go 1-0 with the rest of your first month looking the way that it does. I mean, the first moment where you think they could have a minute to breathe is week 6 at Carolina.
Right.
And even then will be one of those where Carolina, you assume, is going to be better after another month of playing, and winning a game on the road in division is never easy. But so I thought you'd go Atlanta's in deep trouble, not like they should start their rookie right off the bat and tell Kirk Cousins,
get healthy.
You're benched already.
No, not benched. We're going to sit you out till we know you're 100%. Because he did not look good on Sunday. I know TJ Watt and the Steeler D had a lot to do with that. But if you look at some of the formations they were running, a lot of it was out of the pistol, which limits mobility to begin with. That's what they did with Peyton Manning back in the day. Not the most mobile quarterback. I think Kirk is not healthy. Go with the healthy quarterback. Give your team a chance to win.
Well, you know what? On the flagship show, do you know who's slated to join us on Wednesday, thanks to our relationship with Monday Night Football on Westwood One, kind enough to come right back on our program, is Kirk Cousins.
Oh.
So we get to ask him point blank.
Well, what's he going to say?
No, I understand. He'll say, I'm healthy, I'm good, or whatever. But at least we put the question to him.
I think, well, that's good.
I think it's an overreaction to start the rookie right away and basically under the guise of he's not healthy yet. We're not going to turn back to him until he's fully healthy.
Right.
Well, that could still be read with you just lost your starting job because we're not going to return to you if Penix does have the hot hand. That said, you did see the way that pretty much every single rookie quarterback looked in week 1, did you not?
Well, I think quarterback play in general in week 1 wasn't that great. I mean, most teams had under 200 yards passing on the day. It wasn't a stellar quarterback day, but yes, the rookies really struggled. Caleb Williams only had 93 yards.
But so you'd have to extrapolate that Penix would pretty much wind up looking the same way.
Or he would have been the outlier that balled out.
Against the Steelers defense and TJ Watt and the rest of those guys and Patrick Queen and Joey Porter Jr. and all of that business?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying Kirk didn't look great. He's clearly not 100%. Let's go with Penix until Kirk's back and see what we got.
What else do you have? You're 0 for 1 as far as I'm concerned. Or you're 1 for 1 as far as you're concerned.
1 for 1.
Okay.
1 for 1. I'm
What
off
else
to
you
a
got?
great start. Rich, you know who else got off to a great start?
No.
Back in the building where he used to play football,
Yeah, baby.
albeit for the other team.
Yeah, baby.
Sam Darnold's taking the Vikings to the playoffs.
Can we sit here and say that? How about can we revisit this after they're done with their London game that I'm calling on NFL Network?
Which is when?
In 4 weeks.
Okay. Well,
Their next 4 games are San Francisco at home.
okay.
Houston at home.
Okay.
At Green Bay.
Okay. That looks like a better matchup now.
Home
them.
for the Jets, and then London for the Jets.
They might be 3-2 there.
Okay, but let's put a pin in this. Let's just call this for what it is, which is a pleasant start.
Yes.
For a guy who deserves to have a pleasant start, right?
He does.
But actually,
I've always wanted good things for this guy.
Let me push back on this. He's had pleasant starts before.
Yes.
No,
yes.
remember he won his first game as a Jet quarterback after throwing a pick six in Detroit, and they won Monday Night Football.
Right.
He started 3-0 as the Carolina Panther quarterback.
He was running all over the place.
Right. Christian McCaffrey looked great with him, and we were talking about Sam for MVP. Were we not? If
we're back.
If only this podcast existed that season.
That would have been great.
We would have given him the week 3 most valuable player
He really
award.
would have been.
So taking the Vikings to the playoffs, I think, is a touch of an overreaction right now. But how about that game at Green Bay, which may be Malik Willis starting, because that's the 3rd week of the 3 to 6 weeks.
Yes, I would imagine it's Malik Willis. Right.
Okay, so the Vikings coming up with a division win on the road against Green Bay would certainly
That's worth something.
help things out.
Yep.
And they already have a conference win against the Giants. That's a pretty sweet tie break. Let's see what happens. They could be 1-2 going into Green Bay.
True.
But let's put a pin in this. Coming out of the bye, they're home for Detroit.
And we say have these next 2 games at home.
And at the Rams. This is a tough next 6 weeks.
3 of the next 4 at home. I guess one of the games is in London.
London, yes, sir.
Bye week, home for the Lions. I like that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna basically say to you, we're putting a pin in this.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying right now it's an overreaction. They looked really nice.
But we liked what we saw out of Sam yesterday.
Jordan Addison may not answer the bell for week 2. He's already got bad soreness in his ankle. That's what Kevin O'Connell said this very day of this taping on the Monday.
If you're wondering, hey, how's Justin Jefferson going to look with Sam Darnold?
Touchdown?
Just fine.
Yeah, he caught a nice one, a nice short one for a touchdown and a 44-yarder otherwise.
Just fine.
You know? My fantasy team could have used a little bit more out of him this week.
Oh, interesting.
I'm 0 for 2 with you, though, right now. So what else you got?
All right. I think you might be with me on this one.
Okay.
Dave Canales is already on the hot seat. He's already on the hot seat. What are we doing, bro? What was that? Derek Carr just threw another touchdown pass.
Well, they looked non-competitive. That didn't look good at all. That was pretty brutal. But hot seat?
Hot seat already.
Dude.
You're already dealing with an owner who's got an itchy trigger finger.
He does. The itchiest in all the fingers and triggers.
And he doesn't care how much he pays on coaches. Isn't he still paying Matt Rule?
Dude, this is a 6-year deal he gave this guy. He's not going to bounce him one game in. Are you out of your mind?
Maybe not one game, but you know what I mean? Like you're making something al dente. You got to put the simmer on a little bit to get the pot going. Dude. His seat's on al dente right now.
Carolina's got the Chargers coming in next.
That's a loss.
They're at Vegas after that.
Now that one, I don't know. The Raiders didn't look great to me.
They're home for Cincinnati after that.
I mean, Bengals didn't look great either.
Here's the one that's really going to. Here's the one if you want to see one that's going to potentially trigger Dave Tepper.
Oh, yeah, week 5
at Chicago, where they see the quarterback the Bears are fielding because of their total disaster of a 2023 season with the guy that they gave up the draft choice for, Caleb Williams, potentially being 0-4 going into that game. Whew. And then if the Bears do get their you-know-what together and put the bang thing on him, I can't imagine he would one and done another coach. I just can't imagine he would do that.
It's bad business, obviously, but David Tepper has proven he doesn't care.
But hot seat after just
already,
1 week.
1 week. 47-10. If it was 27-10, seat's not hot. 47, a near 50 burger?
No, it's terrible.
In your first game? Bryce Young looks like he'd never played before.
I have been in owners' suites watching their team get their asses kicked.
Oh, no.
In my days. It's
got to be one of the most uncomfortable.
So not fun.
Yeah.
It is uncomfortable. It is definitely something where you want to get out.
Yeah.
But you're like, if I leave, how, you know, they gave me one of their passes.
Guest.
I was a guest.
Yeah.
Clearly, if I'm like, I'm running for cover. So you got to sit there. You got to sit there and hope that you're not making eye contact.
Ooh. At that point, is the owner even paying attention to anyone else around him, or he's just so locked in on how bad it's going on the field?
You treat the owner like they're a pitcher throwing a no-hitter.
Right. Exactly.
Leave him alone. Don't go anywhere near him. Don't talk. Don't make eye contact. Don't even think of making eye contact. Don't breathe loud. It's bad. I could not imagine what it would be like in the New Orleans suite, the home of the Saints and the home of the Super Bowl.
Right.
This year with the Tepper family. No doubt thinking is our year. Right. We hired the right guy.
He's a quarterback
Bryce Young had a great final preseason game. By the way, that's another sort of passive way for me to throw in here that we did see that he didn't play in his final preseason. Because in our previous episode of this pod, we're like, he didn't even play. And he absolutely did. And we got heard about it.
Yeah. Panthers fans.
But they're sitting there thinking, this is going to be it.
Different. We drafted a receiver.
Dude,
we bring in Deontay Johnson. Not on the hot seat?
No way.
Okay.
What
week does the seat get hot?
I just identified that. If they're 0-4 and they're in Chicago watching the quarterback that the team that's beating the crap out of them with is the quarterback that you gifted them with a draft choice due to your thorough lack of progress with the guy that you traded the draft choice for in the previous year. And now you're showing up with that guy and the team that is much better because of your awful trade, and they're using all of that to beat you up with your new coach?
That's bad news.
And you're 0-5?
Not good.
What else, Chris?
Rich.
Yeah.
Off season too.
I'm sitting right here.
I see you. The Steelers revamped their quarterback room this offseason in a way we'd never really seen before.
We didn't expect it.
And completely unexpected.
Yes, sir.
And throughout the whole thing, competition this, competition that, we knew it was Russell Wilson's gig.
I'm wondering where we go. It should be Justin Fields' gig to begin with?
Justin Fields should be the Steelers' starting quarterback all season. Why are we messing around with this Russell Wilson idea?
How about
Fields
this?
is the guy.
How about this? I can't sit here and say all season. I mean, you can't. I will say he should be the quarterback at Denver. I will say that. Now, this is going to be an interesting week because how can you tell Russ, we sat you could have played. We made you the third inactive emergency quarterback.
Why was he dressed, by the way?
Because he's Russell Wilson. He's not inactive. If it was an emergency, if the first two went down, you're allowed to go in. If you designate somebody is allowed to go in. So he could have put his pads on.
Exactly. He didn't need to be padded up already.
No, but he's also Russell Wilson.
I understand.
He's there. He's there with his teammates. He's Russ.
I get
black and gold.
Here we go.
So
This is Fields' team.
I'm saying this would be tough for Tomlin to look at Russ and say, I know you wanted to play. I know the doctors said you could play. We're being really cautious because you're getting up in years. And those calf muscle injuries, those linger. Clearly, it's still lingering.
It's still going from the sled.
Right. From the summer.
Yeah.
And he's now saying, I feel great. And whatever MRIs they could take, come back clean. And he looks at him and says, it's Sean Payton week. And you're wearing an earbud. That's
it's gonna be tough to
really tough thing to say to him.
You can bench the guy that's 1-0. I mean,
I
know they had 6 field goals. They didn't get in the end zone.
Or you say he's done enough. He did what he needed to do.
Had some nice throws to Pickens.
Or do you say to him, you're the backup quarterback. That's the sort of stuff we need you to do when we call on you. But you're now back to the bench. And then Russ goes to Denver and does not perform very well or looks hurt. Then what?
Then we're just playing ping pong.
But if there's one guy, I think we're laying out here for you how week to week this is going to be a dicey proposition. So you're saying just remove it from the table and announce just right now.
Hey, Justin's our guy.
But I don't think his performance in week 1 merits that. For him to box himself in like that.
Did they win the game?
They don't have any long-term connection with either of these guys. So
ride the guy that's winning.
I understand. That's what I said. That they should say,
yeah, Russ.
Let's see what you do in week 2 with this. Let's build upon whatever continuity that we have. Like, again, preseason was 1 week, one guy, another week, the other guy, then another week, the other guy. And now they started with the other guy in week 1. What are they going to go with the other guy in week 2? How many times are you going to go back and forth? There has to be some continuity.
Exactly.
We just said to start this pod that week 1 is an extension of preseason football. You got to get some continuity going where the team knows this is the guy and they're all practicing together and getting on the same page.
They can go into Denver this week and win.
I think they should stick with Justin Fields.
Okay.
But if there is any sort of allegiance or, bleeding heart, you gotta turn to Russ and say, let's use you. Let's ride. Let's go into this spot. The reason why you're here is they dead capped you, man. How about you put a cap in them?
So you think if Fields is struggling at half, you want to go Russ second half?
No, I think you might just turn to Russ this week and just say, this will be the last time we make this change. Justin, thank you for your service.
Right. Did a great job.
That was your job coming into the season. Okay. This is what we told you about. I think that's the way it's going to go. But I agree with you that Justin Fields should get the start this week. But for the rest of the season, the coach is never going to box himself into that.
Who starts more games this year?
Gosh, I'll go Justin Fields. I mean, if Russ is 36 and he's got a calf
in it, yeah.
But that may be an overreaction too.
Yeah, you might be right.
Oh, baby. God, I love this sport and this pod.
All
and
right,
everything
last one before halftime.
All right.
Now, on Friday, the flagship show, when we were in KC, what's more likely, I said, who's the more likely team that needs to start 1-0 the most?
What were those teams again?
Cowboys, Browns.
And I said,
I think we wanted to say Browns, but
we
then
went Cowboys.
Yeah. And they did it. The Cowboys had the most impressive week 1 victory.
Okay, let's see. Let's have that the clubhouse leader, and let's see if I can
see if any
others jump
go
out.
down the list and see what you think.
Let's go Buffalo with a comeback win in Arizona. More impressive than what the Cowboys did on the road? I would say no. Chicago's defense bailing out their rookie quarterback? I'll say no. Your boys shocking the Bengals.
It was pretty impressive.
But I mean, they didn't
compared to expectations on the season as a whole.
Right. But not like soup to nuts tail kicking.
It was more shocking than I think impressive.
Correct. Okay. Seattle's win against Denver. I will say that they're not going to hang that one in the Seahawk Louvre.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Giving up 2 safeties.
Detroit over the Rams.
That was pretty impressive. rematch of last year.
But would have been
had a
impressive.
lead.
What would have been impressive on par is if they did to the Rams what the Cowboys did to the
Right.
But they were also home.
They were home.
Let's not discount who's on the road. How about Philadelphia over Green Bay? No, although flying 12 hours
Neutral
to play in a
site on a
foreign
long
country,
flight.
that ain't easy.
Understood.
Houston at Indianapolis
Road win. And
to do what they did back in the spot with all the revenge.
they narrowly almost gave that one up.
So
at the
far,
end.
nothing's leaping out. Kansas City over Baltimore. Miami over Jacksonville. Chargers over Vegas. Minnesota over the Giants. New Orleans over Carolina. I don't think we're going to find one here. Tampa over Washington. No, I'll just say this is it. I mean, dude.
I was really impressed.
They took the Browns.
To the woodshed.
As I said, they treated the dog pound like a fire hydrant. I mean, they beat him. They had Turpin return one on a punt. They beat him in every. They had a kicker kick one from 66 yards to be wiped out by a delay of game penalty, and it looked like he should have gone for 71 yards.
Should have went for the.
So they had him in the kicking game.
Yep.
They had him in the return game.
Yep.
They had him on defense.
Defense for sure.
They had him on offense. Even though their offense didn't look all that great. You know, Dak threw for 59%, 170 some odd yards.
But CeeDee Lamb
You know,
looked
and
great.
one touchdown.
Brandon
and
Cooks
Zeke,
had a touchdown.
I know. I mean,
Zeke scored. Rico was running the ball.
Let me just say this, too. McCarthy doesn't get the flowers. He called a hell of a game, dude. He called a hell of an offensive game. He kept the Browns like gasping for air. He kept the pedal to the metal, even though they weren't really, dominant on that side of the ball. But they were aggressive.
Yep.
And Micah Parsons he and TJ Watt had the best defensive player of the year out of the gate performances.
I think you're right about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear Myles Garrett's name called much.
Well, it's because Myles Garrett was, even with a rookie at left tackle, the Cowboys just outperformed him, and Deshaun Watson looked terrible. Now, again, you got protection problems up front, and Nick Chubb's not there. But some of the times when, you're throwing the ball in the end zone for 50-50 ball, the ball should not go out of the end zone and hit the back wall. There are a couple times when he's thrown to the sidelines and it hit the kicking net. I mean, he was that far off.
He looked terrible. No other way to put it.
In our flagship show on Monday, Chris Long called Deshaun Watson cooked.
And that is
cooked.
I kind of went, whoa. That's a strong
term. That sounds like an overreaction.
That's a strong term.
But Chris Long is not prone to those things.
Right. I am.
And so we'll find out if he's right, or if Dallas just makes people look that way. But as I said, just one last time, just to repeat here what I said on the flagship show, give them the Cowboys their flowers. Impressive win. You could say that there is a lesser opponent, so you should treat them like a plaything, and they did.
Yep.
But the only other thing that you could say about Dallas is whatever. We'll see what happens in January.
Also, Dallas was underdogs in this game. Like the Desert thought
the
Browns were a field goal better.
Dallas took forever to sign their stars. Dallas didn't really supplement their roster. That was the whole all-in conversation. And Cleveland made the playoffs thanks to Joe Flacco last year. So Deshaun Watson coming back healthy, they should be better.
You'd think, but it wasn't even close.
So that's why, we got one right. At least I think.
Look at us.
Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks, folks, that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier, because what Game Time Picks does is filters out the fluff, so you only see incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste a single second searching through thousands of tickets. The curation becomes easier to save more on sports, concert, comedy, theater, and more. The all-in pricing feature, you get your total up front. You get to see all that, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. With Game Time, you always get the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets right now with Game Time, folks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code OVERREACTION, and you get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Visit GameTime.co for restrictions. Again, create that account, redeem our code OVERREACTION, 2 R's in our code. You get $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Second half, sir. What do you got?
Second half, Rich. I'm going to throw a little stat at you. Did you know that since signing his $160 million contract a few years ago. Daniel Jones has more touchdown receptions, touchdown passes to the other team than his own team.
Yeah, I know.
3-2. We are officially on Drew Lock watch for the Giants.
I don't think that's an overreaction. Again, I'm just connecting the dots here. They want Daniel Jones to work out in the worst way right now.
Well, they have no choice.
Well, your premise is there is. It's Drew Lock.
Well, yes, it's true.
So
can't be any worse.
But they wanted to work out. He's their highest paid employee. Okay, they got it. They got to get something out of him. Okay, and that's why they improved their offensive line and they got Malik Neighbors, but they let Saquon walk. Okay, and I'm just connecting dots here. Connecting dots. I go back to again. One of the rumors I heard at the Combine from multiple people is they were done with Daniel Jones. And we did see in Hard Knocks.
They were really trying to move up.
Well, they were trying to move up, but they were also trying to redeem him. You know, they were trying to say, because they had to know moving up from 6 to 3
was going to be expensive.
Exactly. Or a non-starter. And it turned out to be.
Right.
And
New England was not interested in moving
and
down at all.
amazingly, New England just beat Cincinnati with the veteran they got to keep, the guy that they drafted and refused to trade to the Giants.
Yeah, just keep him there.
Keep him marinating.
Keep learning.
While the Giants got stuck with Daniel Jones because they decided not to go with J.J. McCarthy or Penix that high. They went with a guy who's really talented in Malik Neighbors. And so they were beginning to start to supplement Daniel Jones best they can after a draft season where they were trying to beef up their line and also get guys on defense so you don't have to score a ton of points, right, to try and win football games. And it was just a dreadful preseason and an even worse start. 2 interceptions against Minnesota. Sam Darnold's the one coming in to MetLife 2 days after Saquon scores 3 times against the Eagles. I mean, for the Eagles against the Packers.
Nobody had a worse weekend than the Giants.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that, this was a bad start all around. And so I don't think they're just going to keep banging their heads against the same wall, man. I don't think so. And they'll see what they have in Drew Lock. Maybe he can run the offense better than Jones, that he doesn't have hanging over his head the contract. He doesn't have hanging over his head that he's going to be sent packing. I don't know. Jones is against the same team that he had one of the best performances of his life, if not the best performance in the playoffs
not
2
that
years
long
ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
What, 18 months ago?
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. But I wouldn't, I'm not, I don't think you're out of left field with that one.
We got Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck looking for real estate.
I don't know if those are the guys, but we'll see.
So far.
You got a lot of time between now and then. The comp I'm hearing from Daniel Jeremiah on Ewers is Baker Mayfield.
Oh, interesting.
That's the one he's comping. Because I reached out to him during the Texas-Michigan game.
Yeah.
I'm like, this kid looks amazing.
Right.
So, and he said he's comped him with Baker.
I like it.
Who, by the way, was first overall.
And who, by the way, played amazingly on Sunday.
What else you got?
Look, I'm pound the chest a little bit for my boys. The Patriots are not going to have a top 10 pick in the draft this year.
Top 10, dude. Not having a top 10. You aware? You know what that means? The Vikings were 7-10 last year and drafted 11th. That's why they traded up to go get J.J. McCarthy with the Jets. They swapped spots to the 10th spot.
What if?
So you're talking.
What if?
You're talking 7 dubs. You're talking 6 more wins.
6-11, 7-10. What if? Okay, look, and I know I was leading this charge all off season of they're terrible. Like,
you don't need a quarterback.
Going to win 2 games.
You don't want to draft top 5 anymore.
I don't, but I want to have one of I want one of those top picks so someone can trade up, like the Giants or the Raiders or the Panthers. Okay, you know what I'm saying? What if, though? What if the line wasn't as bad as we were made to believe in the preseason? What if this is a top 5 defense? Christian Gonzalez held Jamar Chase to 15 yards on Sunday.
I had a top 5 list in my back pocket for the last 2 weeks of the preseason, but things just in our show didn't work out to do that for whatever reason. Like I kept on pushing it off, pushing it off.
Stevenson at 120 yards.
So the top 5 list was top 5 second-year players are going to take the biggest leap. On the list, I had Christian Gonzalez.
Oh, look at you, Rich Eisen.
I did.
Oh, baby.
Jahmyr Gibbs was number one.
Of course.
Unless they're just going to keep on rolling Montgomery out for the first two series and then the last series.
Well, yeah. That was some smash
I mean,
mouth football
there had to be
overtime.
there had to be a ton of Jahmyr Gibbs fantasy players.
Well, I was holding my breath.
Who are like, are we going to see him before the second quarter or what?
I was playing against Amon-Ra on Sunday, so I was kind of holding my breath a little bit when we went to overtime.
Wow. But that's not to get too far afield here. He is that good.
He is that good.
This defense, the team could be better.
It could be better than we think.
Not
Bengals, top 10.
The Bengals, I guess this is that age-old adage, who won it, who lost it.
Said more about the Bengals than I think New England to me.
I don't know.
But
we will find out.
Yeah.
But for you to sit here and say there's 6 more wins in that schedule.
Not top 10.
You kind of sounded, but that was a New England.
Not.
You said, I think you
not
said
top
not.
10.
You said not.
Not
that
era.
just slipped right out of you. Hold on a minute.
It's not a
New
great schedule.
New England's next 4.
By the way, could be Seattle didn't blow my socks off on Sunday. Okay. We could be 2-0
at the Jets on
Thursday night. Jets. We're both 2-0. Rich, come on.
Or the Jets are 0-2, losing the Monday Night Football, and then at Tennessee, which is very feasible on a short week to happen. Very feasible. At San Francisco, home for Miami, home
Curious
for Houston,
what the Niners look
in
like.
London against
Miami
Jacksonville.
Didn't blow my socks off either.
I'll just call this an overreaction.
All right,
for your sake that I am wrong.
All right.
Top 10. That's 7 wins, bud.
6-11?
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe
6-11 gives you a top 10 pick.
Rich, I want to talk about one of your boys, one of your sons. Baker Mayfield's going to be in the MVP conversation all year long.
Dude. Don't make me say no.
Dude was the best quarterback in the game yesterday.
I already said the Falcons were winning the division, and that makes me feel
not anymore.
Stupid.
I'm ready for a mulligan on that. I don't know why we slept on the Bucs.
I don't know,
dude,
if this is an overreaction or not. But I'm officially switching.
I am officially
100%.
No doubt about it.
4 quarters into the NFL season.
Bucs fans, I am sorry.
And saying, hey, listen, Bucs fans,
sorry.
I don't know if you saw it, but my finger was on that piece still.
Chess piece.
When I said the Falcons were winning the NFC South and you were not, and the Falcons would be and the Bucs would be out, I am now officially saying my finger's on the chess piece. And I'm going to use my one preemptory, if I may, or mulligan to do that.
I want to apologize to Mike Evans, to Rashad White, to Chris Godwin.
Honestly, I want
to apologize to everybody.
And I understand Washington may be an opponent that you could look that way against, but you still looked that way against them.
Smoked them.
As opposed to, well, week 1, we did this, we did that. It just shows you, again, in the week 1 world that we now live in, with fewer preseason games and practice time is less than ever before, that continuity is king. Mm-hmm. Cowboys were all in, right?
Yep.
On their roster. How'd they look?
They looked amazing.
Did the Chiefs lose many people?
Nope.
How'd they look?
Pretty dang good.
The Bucs kept everyone together.
Brought everybody back.
They changed the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But how did they look?
Really good.
Right. So I should take my own advice.
We should know better.
And say, I need to look at teams that are keeping their teams together. And if that team being kept together made the playoffs the previous year and appeared to be on the ascent, why would I jump off that train?
We got seduced.
Other than the fact that you just think
by the cousins and the,
no,
you know what I mean?
I get seduced by is all the crap that you say.
I'm blaming you.
No. There's 6 new playoffs team on average. You got to figure out where it is. You got to try and choose.
All
right. Bucs fans, I am officially apologizing here.
Me too.
But through the entire season in the MVP,
we're just going to be talking about him all year. Like, man, Baker Mayfield's here. We're going to look at the odds, and Baker's going to be in the top 5, and he's going to be there at the end.
Dude,
he's going to do this all year.
If he does this all year, he should be in the top 5.
What if the Bucs are 12-5?
If the Bucs are 12-5 after doing what they did last year and having Brady, for them to bridge the Brady to the Baker era,
they might host the NFC Championship
and
game.
not skip much of a beat, would truly be one of the more remarkable feats the NFL has witnessed in the last 5 years.
And the Baker Mayfield story.
Now we're talking over. Now you see, you're talking. My game. You're speaking my language. But for me to sit here and say after week one that he's going to be in the MVP conversation all year.
All right, hold on. Post week one MVPs. Who do you got?
Hold a second. Oh, stop. Are you really having this? I know that's what this podcast is all about. Post week one MVPs. Who you got?
It's
you
Baker
literally
Mayfield.
said those words.
It's Baker Mayfield.
Okay, great.
It's Saquon Barkley.
Yes, but you would have been and Sam Darnold. Okay, good enough.
All right.
Listen though, let's talk next week. Let's see what he does against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. If he goes in and avenges last year's division round loss, and plays the way that they just played by winning from jump and keeping it going the entire game and not letting up and being 100% the better team, soup to nuts from start to finish, in the same way they just looked against Washington, and they do that in Detroit, then we're going to have a conversation. That's next week's show.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Last one before we get to our look ahead overreactions.
Yes.
I have this. My tongue is a little bit in my cheek here, but not really. The Packers should call Tom Brady. Or at the very least, Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, let's say that about Ryan Tannehill. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I tweeted that out again over the weekend. I mentioned it on the flagship show on Monday that I tweeted out, got to believe that Ryan Tannehill's phone is ringing from a 920 area code right
You
now.
have to think he'd been called.
And a response I got, one of the first responses I got on the dreaded X hellscape was from somebody saying, be honest, did you have to Google what the Green Bay area code was? And I'm like, 100%.
Absolutely.
And I wrote back, as charged.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I had to. So I believe that. Tom Brady, dude, just turn the page.
Hear me out. I love Tom Brady more than most, all right?
Turn the page.
Wasn't great yesterday, but also his first game calling a game, okay?
Right.
Also, why can't Fox just give him like a 6-week break? He goes and wins 6 in a row for Green Bay. Now they're set up when
And
Love
then he
gets
comes back?
Yeah, and he comes back to the booth.
But why would he do such a thing?
Because he wants to keep playing?
Yeah, but he's not ready. He's not.
What do you mean he's not ready?
Dude,
did you see the video of him last week? He set a max with his all-time bench press.
I get it.
Guy is in shape.
I bet.
You don't think he's throwing on the Fox lot?
Dude.
Like, he's ready to go.
Dude, he just turned the page. He's legitimately, the story that came out yesterday as well on Sunday, on week one Sunday, is he is about to get his approval to be a part owner of the Raiders. He's going to get it.
He's going to own the Raiders. He's going to work for the Packers and Fox. He's going to do it all.
What better way to indicate to the membership that you have been arm twisting for about a year and a half to get what he's looking for? What better way to say I'm an unserious minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders than to say I'm leaving my Fox job after 1 week
to play for the Packers
on an interim basis?
Because he can win a Super Bowl with that team.
What do you mean? Jordan Love's not done for the year. This isn't like Rodgers last year. He's coming back. It's an MCL sprain, Chris.
It might linger. You like slip in the house or something.
Tannehill is the answer.
All right. I told you I was just sort of kidding with
Tannehill is the answer. Matt LaFleur, he's got that complete, Shanahan history. Everybody thinks the Packers hired Matt LaFleur straight from the 49ers. They didn't. They hired him from Tennessee. And so
he does not get talked about enough as being a great coach.
That's why I'm saying this is on him now.
Yeah.
Because if Malik Willis is going to be your starter, boy, do they have to coach him up in a way that we didn't see much out of him in Tennessee.
I haven't seen it so far.
So they acquired him to be the backup, which means they should have belief in him that he can actually do the job to keep things afloat. Problem is the rest of the division's already won. They're one game behind the rest of the division right now.
Yep.
Minnesota and Chicago also won. The Rams almost did them a huge favor last night on Sunday night, but they didn't. The Indianapolis Colts can absolutely come in with that defense and turn Malik Willis back into his Liberty days. Okay? And Anthony Richardson could be running around like crazy and throwing 60-yard, back leg throws like he did to Alec Pierce, your current clubhouse leader through 1 week of throw of the year. And, then of all places, look at that, at Tennessee. I'd come back with the entire storylines. I'd come back with the entire Tennessee quarterback room in the last 5 years if I'm LaFleur. They should try and trade for Mariota.
Trade for Mariota?
Yeah, trade for Mariota. Let's go. If you bring back Jake Locker to be an honorary captain.
What do you think Jake's up to
Do
these
it.
days?
That's what I would do if I'm LaFleur.
That's great.
Bring them all back.
Neil
Every
O'Donnell, is he
last
somewhere?
one of them. Kerry Collins. Let's bring them all. Let's have they're the honorary captains of the Packers
great.
in that game.
I'm into that.
That's what I would do. Tom Brady, just turn the page, bud.
I mean, I used it to set up.
But he's not walking through that door. All right. So
used it as a bit.
now that it's an in-season edition of our pod, we do this every single in-season edition of our show.
Yep.
Each week, you and I predict what we will be overreacting to the next week. What our media will be saying about a team or situation based off of the next week's results that have yet to happen.
Fantastic.
All right. You go first.
Rich.
Your week 2.
Yep.
Nostradamus overreaction prediction is what?
The Bucs are the best team in the NFC.
So you're saying they go into Detroit and they
win.
do that thing?
Yeah, they're going to do that thing. Detroit didn't really blow me away on Sunday night. They let the Rams come back, and I did like the smash mouth to end it. But I was really impressed with Tampa, really impressed with Baker Mayfield.
I'm not saying this can't happen, but for this to be right, that they're the best team in the NFC.
Best team in the NFC.
Dallas would have to look less than they did on Sunday against New Orleans at home.
Well, even if they do blow them out, I'm saying that's an overreaction to say the Bucs.
No, but what I'm saying is that an overreaction would have some sort of merit.
Right.
That Dallas would.
Dallas is a so-so maybe against the Saints.
All right. And then San Francisco would have to either lose to the Jets or not look that great.
Right.
And then the same thing would happen in Minnesota.
Oh, well, who do the Eagles play next week?
Philadelphia takes on, well, we wouldn't know by next Monday's pod because they're on Monday Night Football against the Falcons.
Right.
Who I think they're going to destroy. Because Kirk Cousins has a history of not performing well in Philadelphia, something I'll gingerly bring up to him on Wednesday's show.
Okay. And then who else?
I could be wrong about that, too.
Who else we got in the NFC? Anybody else?
I'm just saying who had an impressive win.
Right, week 1. That's what
And
I mean.
the other one would be Detroit, and you just
They're gonna lose.
said that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be.
That's what we're going to overreact to.
All right.
Bucs are the best team.
I'm going to go in the opposite direction. And I'm going to say we're going to come on the air in week 2, and you're going to look at me and go, Rich.
Just like that.
Is that his Rich? The Green Bay Packers are in deep trouble.
Oh.
That's what you're going to say. Because I do believe the Colts defense will go in there and in the Lambeau Field opener, Malik Willis he better eat
his Wheaties this week,
He
man.
better eat his Wheaties this week.
Yeah.
Because the Colts defense with DeForest Buckner and the rest of those cats were in the backfield quite a bit. Now this may be a Josh Jacobs game in the same way that Houston had a Joe Mixon performance.
True.
Okay.
True.
An excellent week 1 performance for Joe Mixon.
Fantastic.
Right. But the Colts defense had that team in the game. And if Malik Willis is not going to show up like CJ Stroud. Like I think they're going to be able to really get after him. And if that offense keeps putting Anthony Richardson back on the field with Mr. Wisconsin Badger himself back in the state of Wisconsin by way of New Jersey in Jonathan Taylor, this could be an 0-2 start for the Packers. And if Malik Willis does not perform well and looks lost, if you will.
Yeah, then what?
Okay, looks like Zach Wilson at his nadir. I just used that word.
That's big word alert.
Okay, at his bottom, type bad.
Yeah,
then Green Bay,
it's Tannehill time.
Then you're at Tennessee.
Yeah.
And then you're home for Minnesota at the Rams. Then you're having a seance to try and conjure up some sort of spirit to get an MCL healed faster.
Yeah.
That's my take on that. And I hope I'm wrong for you cheeseheads out there. Good stuff.
Good stuff. We're back.
Week number 1, Overreaction Monday, 2024 NFL season is in the books. For Chris, I'm Rich. We will chat with you next week. What the Football with Jim Nance and Susie and Amy Trask. Season 2 of that pod will hit on Wednesday of this week because Nance is available on Wednesday this week. So, of course, they move to Wednesday. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.